Hello and welcome. Giving you something to talk about, the title of this show. Welcome, Just a Family. I said that all backwards because today is going to be one of those days. Today's episode, we are talking about getting out of your own way. I have my own story to share about that today, and I'm sure that our guest host, Lynne Brown, has her own stories to talk about getting out of your own way. Today's episode is sponsored by A Phoenix Identity. If you would like to connect with them, you can do so. Link in the description. As for the show, please like, follow, and share the show. If you'd like to be a co-host on the show, a guest on the show, or if you'd like to sponsor the show, please reach out to us at justalivetv.com. And again, like, follow, and share. And shameless TikTok plug, please go and follow us on TikTok, Just Alive. We need more followers to go live on TikTok. So please go and bump us up. All right, I'm your host, Melissa Krechler. I'm an identity coach and spiritual teacher, and I'm going to hand it off to our co-host today, Lynne Brown, to introduce yourself. Lynne, please.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I'm super excited about this opportunity, and I love what I do. So when I have the opportunity to share about what I do, what I get to do, then it really lights my fire. You know, I always say, and people are like, what? I always say, y'all, I was broken. I had a broken mindset. So I've gone from broken to bulletproof. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, here's the deal. I could not fight myself out of a wet paper bag. I mean, I was so trapped in comparison. I was so trapped in what other people thought about me that I never even had my own opinion, the first half of my life. I mean, even into my adult life. And people are just like shocked because they're like, well, didn't you do that company and you earned 7 cars in a company? I'm like, yeah. And didn't you go to get your master's degree? I'm like, yeah, I did. Yeah. But I did not believe myself. They're like, how did you do it? I'm like, you know what? I honestly don't know, except I've just been gritty all my life. And they're like, well, I mean, why didn't you just quit? I'm like, I just can't quit. I just can't quit. And so today we're just going to share, chat about, what makes somebody have that fight, or if you feel like right now, you know what, that's great that you did that, Lynne, that you're still fighting. And seriously, I am still fighting. You understand, not in a bad way, but I am still fighting for my dream. Just recently, I went through a big change, leadership change. And it was tough for me, but everything worth having is uphill, and you're not going to slide in, to success and significance in your life. It's just not. So I've kind of gotten used to the fact, and I know, I'm sure Melissa, what I'm talking about, but I've just gotten used to hard. Hard is just my new norm. And we've done hard things before. So even all of you viewing today, and if you're listening in, think about this, think about yourself personally. I know you've done hard things before. Just take a minute, think about something that you overcame in your life, whether it was a habit or you started a new job or a new relationship, or you got out of a relationship. I don't know, but you've done hard before. And so what I always encourage my coaching clients to do is to take those models. They're learning models of achievement. They're like your trophies. I mean, and you can look back on things that you did that were hard, and you can use those same formulas. Now, using that same philosophy in school, I thought I had convinced myself by 7th grade. I truly had convinced myself that I was dumb and stupid. Compared to my friends, there was no way I could make the grades they did. Compared to their report cards, my report cards, there was just no way. And so I just started playing small then. I just started playing not to lose, not to win. I didn't play to win, but I just played not to come in last. If I could just scrape by and somehow make it, then I was happy. So I had that mindset of just that second runner-up mindset, because I did not believe I was enough. Yeah. I just didn't. I just didn't believe my enoughness was enough. And if you're having some of those thoughts, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have this dream in your heart. You have this thing that you want to do, and you start it and you stop it, and you start it and you stop it. And you think, what is it that's holding me back? And in the coaching process, I know, this, Melissa, and you see it all the time, but basically here's the deal. If you could have already figured it out, you would have already figured it out. So I beat my head against the wall for the first half of my life. I mean, literally the first half of my life, I beat my head against the wall, just thinking this is pretty much it. My circumstances are driving my results. My circumstances, they're responsible for my behavior, everything was from the outside in. I never knew that inside I had the answers. So does that make sense?
Absolutely. I want to follow up with that with, we don't always have the answers and we don't always know how to fix things. One, when we're emotionally charged, right? When we're in that, I'm not good enough, you're not going to think you're good enough to get yourself out of it. You're not going to think about all the ways that you could get yourself out of it. And so emotions have a huge impact on that. The second one is sometimes you're just not meant to get out of it at that point. Right? I've had exceptional shifts in the last 3 months. Since the beginning of January, I have had such huge shifts in my life and business that I wish I had had 6 years ago when I started my business. And there wouldn't have been all that struggle and all that back and forth and everything going on there. And then all of a sudden now, one thing and everything starts falling into place. And it's like, oh, that's why that didn't work. That's why that didn't work. And it's just this huge cycle. And I'd love to get into that. But I have to say, I love your accent. I'm just totally, I'm from Canada. We have different accents, but we don't have US accents. And I love different accents. And yours is very strong. And I absolutely adore it.
Well, thank you. Yes. I'm a little bit on the Southern side. And so, and one time I had a mentor, which I later found out she really wasn't a mentor, but she wanted me to change my voice. And she said, you really need to take voice lessons and you really need to change your voice because people aren't going to take you serious. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, that's how I was created and my voice is staying with me. It's just my signature voice and I'm keeping it. So, but that's a whole nother day, a whole nother story. But that was before really I knew what mentorship was and what coaching was and what true leadership was. And I thought it was, it was more like you follow and you take everything they say and you don't disagree or disrespect or do anything, not disrespect, but you just don't disagree with anybody. You just go along with it. And I was like a puppet for so long in my life because I did not have the belief of my own to stand on my own. And when I joined Maxwell Leadership 7 years ago, y'all, I could be the poster child for personal growth. I mean, I did not even know what personal growth was. I thought if you started thinking and trying to change your mind, that was kind of wacky and weird. I was raised in a very small town. I still live in the small town. I was raised in a very small church and I have a great family. I went to school. I did. I went to college and got my master's degree, all of that stuff. But really all that was a result of how I was raised because that was just what you did. That was the next step. It wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. But it's what I did because it was what was expected of us. And, we were told to be quiet and shh. That's all I ever heard was shh, you're too loud. So I just grew up with all these things. And by middle school, my grades were starting to slip. And, I was a really traumatic thing. Well, I mean, y'all, I'm sure there are people that have gone through such worse things than me, and they're like, Lynn, that's really not traumatic, but it was to me at the time. But my teacher passed out the math test that afternoon. It was in April. It was probably about this time of year. I remember exactly. And my friend, she mixed up the test papers and my friend got my exam and I got hers. And I was so excited because it was like an A. And I was like, whoa, okay. It was a Friday. And I was like, I can't wait to get home and show my parents. And like, she burst into tears and everybody swarmed to her and they were like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And the teacher stopped class. And I mean, it was like major meltdown. Well, the teacher looked at the paper and said, there's only one explanation. There's only one person in here that could do this. Lynne Brown, not Lynne Brown, Lynn Andrews, come get your paper. And she called me out in front of everybody. And I had failed the test, of course. And everybody laughed. And I got on the bus and they started singing, made up a song. You know how kids are. on the playground of
Yeah.
life. And probably if we had time to talk to the viewers today, you could probably remember something in school that was traumatic. And so a lot of times that's where some of those beginning beliefs come from. It sounds crazy, but it's true. They really do. And so the kids on the bus sang songs about me. And by the time I got home, I was crying, all that. By Monday morning, I was like, okay, new day, because I'm resilient. And we'll get in that in a minute. That's part of gritty. But I was like, okay, new day, that's fine. I'm not going to be able to make it in the classroom, but I can sure entertain them. I can be the clown. And I started that day being the clown, and I was funny. Oh yeah, I could bring the whole class down. High school, I stopped a whole English class. We were having a test. I told the teacher I dropped my contact, and for 20 minutes we looked for my contact on the floor, stalled the whole thing, and she finally said, look, we're not going to have time to take the test today. So I was popular that day. Everybody cheered and it was happy and all that. And, the sad part was I did not wear contacts. So I just staged that whole thing. And it wasn't out of confidence. People are like, how do you have the guts to do the courage to do that? I was like, it wasn't out of confidence. It was out of just desperation to be noticed. And then that need to be noticed went, as I went through high school and even started middle school, I began to drink alcohol. My friends, anyway, I used to hang out with older friends, and their parents would, sometimes let them drink. And I had my first alcohol in the 7th grade and started drinking and sneaking around. And it just, I had the mind of about 9-year-old and the body of about a 20-year-old. And it just wasn't a good mix. Yeah. And so combined with all that and a low value of myself, those paradigms were so cemented in my brain. And so now I'm like a coach with a jackhammer. That's like my goal, is just to help women to break through those paradigms and to break up those old patterns and realize that they can create new thoughts and new beliefs. I never knew I could until I did it. We were talking about, before the show, it's like it's so great when you watch somebody go through that process, and when they have that aha moment, when they see the light come on, you can actually see the light come on in them a lot of times. And they're like, wow, I never knew that was the thing holding me back, And so with me, there's not enough time on the show to go into all the things that were holding me back, but basically my mindset was broken.
Yeah.
And
it happens all the time. It's a lot of people don't understand that the way we feel as adults, I said that weird, the way we feel as adults is conditioned in us as children. So something traumatizing to you, like the situation in math class, that would have been traumatizing for other people. Kids have it hard. And when we're children, we're creating our identity. We're creating our beliefs about who we are, what we look like, how we act, what we're worthy of, what we're not worthy of. All of that comes down to our experiences, right? We're creating these pillars. I created the 7 mindset pillars, and it's our 7 most important aspects of our life. And that is our self, our spirituality, our romantic relationships, our family, our friendships, our career, and our finances, right? 7 most important. And we build beliefs in each of those pillars based on our experiences, based on what we're taught, what we experience from other people, our peers, our parents. And then as we get to an age where we start making decisions, we make decisions based on what's in those pillars, whether they're right or wrong. We make those decisions, right? Relationship wise, I'm not worthy. My mother was in an abusive relationship, or my father was a cheater. That's what I know. And then you'll continue to create that, right? We're not, I like the broken to bulletproof. I love how you said that. But at the same time, I don't feel we're broken. I feel like we're misplaced. There's so much influence from everybody else. You also mentioned mentors. Mentors are great, but what ends up happening with a lot of mentors, especially now, is you have to do it this way. You have to be this way. You have to follow this process. I know in my own coaching practice, I turn around and I'm like, no, not a chance in hell. This isn't about what I do. This is about what you want to do. It's not about how I did it or what's going to work for me. It's what do you need? Who are you? How is that going to relate to your everyday? Busting through those beliefs and my entire logo. And when I said I rebranded my entire coaching practice this year, I did. And I created a Phoenix identity. And the reason I did that is because a Phoenix, when it doesn't like its life, will burn it to the ground. And it reclaims, I'm a Phoenix, and it rebuilds its entire life. But it still stays who it is. Right? And when you start to identify, this is my identity. This is who I am. Those broken thoughts that everybody else put into your head, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm the class clown. I can only make friends this way. I can only be this way. I have to change my voice. All of these things that you even experienced are those broken pieces that other people are putting on you. And they're broken because they're not you. They're not supposed to be for you. And it's taking that and right, creating that bulletproof inner shell and saying, that's not me. Your belief is not who I am.
That's exactly right. That's so powerful. And I love I'm sure all of you have heard this before or seen, a meme or a picture or whatever, but, I love the analogy of the cracked pots. The most light comes out of the broken, the pots that have the holes in them, the cracks. That's where the light is the most beautiful when it comes out. And I feel like that's those, everybody's going through stuff, either has gone through it, is coming out of it, or going through it now. So we've all have hard stuff where it's just life. It's just, we're going to have hard things that we have to overcome, those obstacles, but they do create us and make us who we are. And I think that, looking back, I can see all those places that they were just preparing me for now, for such a time as this. I mean, all these things, some people look at them and go, gosh, that's terrible. Or you hear somebody going through a really hard thing, or, I have a friend who she and her daughter just got out of the hospital, and her daughter had a brain injury in 2016, and they've been in the hospital 140 days, and they just got out. And, she has the biggest smile on her face, and just so grateful for the nurses, and so grateful for everything. And I just can't, that's my whole foundation is a gritty mindset. And that's how I've been able to pick up these pieces and, put them into, a beautiful picture, so to speak. But the gratitude piece came out of a difficult situation 7 years ago. I reached up to a mentor, and that's very important. And I know y'all know this. I'm not talking at you. We're just talking together, but please just do this one thing. Don't ever take advice from anybody that you would not want to trade places with, and only take advice or be coached or mentored by people who have done what you want to do, or who are going where you want to go. But never take advice from the people that hadn't been through the fight that you're fighting, because they don't know. Right now, I have a friend going through a divorce. I have several coaching clients that have been through divorce, and I'm coaching them, but I will never say, I know how you feel, because I do not know how they feel about that one thing. Now, have I had loss in relationships in my life? Yes. So the G in gritty is for gratitude. And I know that's something everybody's like, oh, so don't click off the show right now just because you've heard about gratitude before, because just hang in here with me for a second. But a lot of people have heard about it, just like a lot of people have heard about a lot of things, right? We know how to whatever the thing is, we know how to eat healthy. But I mean, I just ate jelly beans. Okay. I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to tell the world I just got into the jelly beans. Okay. And today was going to be the day that I didn't. But so I know what to do. We don't always do, just because we know something doesn't mean we always do it. I'd always heard of gratitude, and I'm a very grateful person. I am grateful for my family. I'm grateful for, my life. being raised, the family that I was, all those things. But I had never written it down daily. And 7 years ago, my friend, my coach that I called, she challenged me to write it down. And she said 25 things a day. And I was like, 25 things a day? And she's like, 25 things a day for a while. And I did it for a couple of years. And then I did, because I was in a coaching process. I'm still in a mentorship process. I have been for 7 years. And so then I came across another thing, and it was to write 7 things a day that you're thankful for, and also to write down 7 dreams as if they had happened. So I began to do that. And that was a whole different take. And I began to see things happen in my life that I had written down years ago. And it was very powerful. Most people do not write down their dreams. Only 3% of the people ever really write down their dreams, their vision, their passion, their purpose. They just don't. They think about it, but they don't write it down. And so gratitude is you will not be around me very long without me mentioning it. And just last night I was at my life group, and I was like, before I went by the store, picked up 14 journals and took them and said, okay, here's a challenge, and gave them out to everybody. That's just what I do. I always give gratitude journals. And the purpose of it is because everybody's not going to do it. Everybody's not going to do it. But if one person does it, that person's joy level, that person's shame and guilt will be annihilated. Because gratitude and being thankful for what you have and having a grateful heart is the greatest cure for shame and guilt and lack of joy. So that's what the G stands for in gritty. And then we've already kind of talked about resilience, but that's the R. The R is in gritty is for resilience. And we have to have that bounce back ability. We just do. I say we fall down 7 times, we grit up 8. We're going to be gritting up 1,000. We're just going to keep gritting up. We got to stay gritty. And this day and age, it's, there's a lot of things that can make you go sideways in a New York minute. There's plenty of opportunity. All you have to do is pick up this, right? And this information right now, you could push one button and you could have 80,000 different opinions about something, and you could get stirred up so quick, just like this. And it can derail you. It can throw you off if you don't have, a gritty mindset, if you're not solid up there. And the I in gritty is for, live an inspired life. Because if you wake up every day and you hit snooze on your life 10 times before you ever want to get out of the bed, you need to do a little self-check. You need to think, what is it? Why do I want to hit snooze on my life? I mean, I honestly don't even need
I hit snooze every day. I love it.
No,
and I love my life.
Well, and I'm not saying you don't love your life. I'm not saying that, but a lot of people that I work with and in teams and companies and clients, I really, when we drill down to it, there are things that they complain about their Mondays. They don't like their Mondays. I'm like, do you know how many Mondays you have in your life? Do you know how many hours that you are just wishing away that you don't enjoy? And they're like, yeah, I dread going to this meeting, and I dread this thing at work, or I dread being around these people. There's just so many people that are going through the motions of life that is not serving them. And I'm just a big proponent on how we start our day. And I think because I've seen my life change because of the habits that I've created, and one being the gratitude habit, it has totally changed. And then that habit, I started that 7 years ago, and I have journals and journals and journals. I mean, they're everywhere on my bookshelves. They're everywhere because I write every day. I do that every day. So you can imagine how many, it's just really stacking up. But, and then that, also resulted in 3 years ago, April 13th. So I just had the celebration 2 days ago, but, or yesterday, I guess that was the 13th, wasn't it? But I've been making my bed, and people are like, what? Making your bed? You didn't make your bed before every day? I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't. And, but, my son was going into the Navy, and I've read some of the SEAL training before, and, that's their big thing. That was one of the big things they did. They trained those guys. That's the first thing they train them on, is making your bed every day. And they're like, that sounds so silly. What could that possibly do? But, you start your day off in a good way, a positive way. And at the end of the day, if it's all gone sideways and upside down, you can look back on how you started it, and there's order, and you walk back in there that night, and there's something that you have done. And so that habit alone, I've done that for 1,096 days now straight. And so, but that's, again, it's just a system. It's just a system. It's getting those systems in place. And it takes that. I used to fly by the seat of my pants. You can't fly by the seat of your pants into significance. Now, you just can't. I mean, I earned 7 cars in a company flying by the seat of my pants. And you're like, how'd you do that? Flying by the seat of my pants. Honestly, I did. And I left that company and filed bankruptcy. So you can fly through life by the seat of your pants. But if you want to get everything out of it that was designed for you, then sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. And we got to look at the results we're getting and look at how we're feeling. Because if anybody's going to magically show up and design and create the life that you desire and the one you dream about and think about, it's going to be you.
Yep. We do. We get in our way so much. It's disgusting. The thoughts, the processes, right? Routines. I don't have a routine. I wake up. Well, I can't say that I don't. I wake up. I have 3 alarms in the morning, and each one is getting me more awake because I don't like getting up in the morning. And I love Mondays. I think Monday is a great day. It is a new week. Just like every day is a new day. I wake up every morning going, today is a new day. It's whatever I make it, right? And whatever happens, tomorrow's a new day. So I don't practice gratitude. I'm very well informed on gratitude. I don't practice gratitude in the normal sense. So I have to say that when you were explaining gratitude, I disagree with a portion of it. So if you're practicing gratitude, and this is kind of a caveat, not even just a disagreement, it's kind of a caveat, is when you're practicing gratitude, if you're using gratitude to transform a negative thought or a negative emotion or negative belief, you're not actually removing that negativity. You're just pushing it down and hiding it under a veil of gratitude. It's like the positivity movement. With the positivity movement, it's think positive, be positive, focus on only the good. And you're not actually doing anything to change that negativity, right? So when it comes to gratitude, I love focusing on gratitude in a sense of every day is a blessing. Every day is a blessing. We may go through horrible things throughout the day. We may have horrible thoughts about ourselves, about others, whatever that looks like, our experiences, but those are all teaching us something. And when we use those lessons in a way that they're teaching us that something needs to change, teaching us that we need to grow, or that we need to learn compassion, whatever the lesson in there is, it's growth. And that's what really propels us forward, is growing into something new, growing into our awareness and our mindset and our ability to find great gratitude in our day.
That's a great point. And it's so true. And so just, I mentioned that in the last couple of weeks, I've been through a big leadership shift. And so I've been writing about that. And I've been writing it down in my gratitude. I am thankful for the place I'm in. I'm thankful for the crucial conversations that I've had. I am thankful that, I got the nudge just to sit in with it, not to bounce out, not to leave, not to exit, but to stay with it. Because I am very aware in the past, I would just jump out of one thing into another. And if it was a bad situation or relationship or whatever, I would just bounce out and I would leave the lessons behind, like you're saying. But and just to clear the gratitude piece up, is the reason I do that is because for so long I was so stuck in comparison, and I would be looking, and people do this all the time, adults too. It's not just kids. It's not just middle school girls, but just for example, on Instagram or Snap or whatever it is you watch, or you scroll, whatever, there's so many people that can get caught in that comparison. And they're just, all of a sudden they see a picture with a filter or whatever, and they're comparing. Maybe they didn't go on a trip, or they blah, 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 or they this or that or whatever. And I used to live my life through those lenses. So now I look at my life, I'm like, wow, I am so grateful. And I've studied tremendous, I've gone really deep in Brene Brown's research and her, her studies and her data on, on gratitude. And, another thing that the one way it serves me, and it's not, I've never really had anybody say that they were doing it to gloss over, anything negative. But so many people, I see this so much in trauma, and sometimes not even in like big trauma stuff that we think of when we think of, huge traumatic life experiences. But we go back and we try to fill in the gaps. We go back and we are stuck in the past of, those gaps, and we're trying to fill in, and we're trying to, what if this and what if that, and if I had done that, and rather than harvesting the good, rather than pulling the golden nuggets out of those experiences and celebrating those, those mile markers, those stones of remembrance. And that can really serve if somebody's really going through heavy grief, or just, trauma, whatever. And in any of those 7, pillars that you mentioned, any of those areas, whether it's finances, relationships, spiritual, whatever it is, that really is a way. It's not the only way, but it is a way, to just refuel, that joy. I'm a person of faith. And so my joy level is, it's not even like half full glass. It's, it's overflowing. And I'm not saying my life is perfect, because it's not. And I go hard through, we go through hard things just like everybody does. Just because we're a coach doesn't mean life doesn't show up and smack us in the face. Because we know we could, Melissa and I could share with you a million things that how life's shown up and, smacked us in the face. But, I think that with a gritty mindset, with these things, and the 2 T's and gritty, just so I make sure I cover it, is to think tough. And it's so important, first of all, that we think about what we're thinking about, because a lot of people really don't even think about what they're thinking about. They just do things because we've always done them. Like if you've ever watched your mom baking something, you're like, well, why do you use that same thing to cut the pie crust or whatever? She's like, because that's what my grandmother used, but it really doesn't work as good as this over here. But, we do things a lot of times just because it's all we've ever known. We do things because we've just always done them that way.
Yeah.
And so we got to think tough. And this life is not for wimps. Being a mom is not for wimps. Being a wife is not for wimps. Going online is not for wimps.
I know.
It's not. You got to be gritty, Yeah. And then the why in gritty is you do you. You just do you. If gratitude works for you, then do gratitude. If it doesn't, then you know what? That's okay. You've got your things. You've got your tools. And just you do you, because you were created imperfectly perfect to do, be, and have anything your heart's desire. And, there are women, there are men, there are people, children, whoever, there's somebody waiting, to hear your story. There's somebody waiting to be served by you. And, I do believe that we do have to slow down a little bit and look in that mirror, every morning and begin to love the person that's looking back at you, because it's really not what other people think. It's what you think about you that matters most, so I just really encourage people to really think about ways that they could set up some systems. You don't have to make your bed if you don't want to. But that was just one thing that created a model for me. The gratitude was another habit that I created, and now I get up and, I put my clothes out to work out every day. I do it the night before, so that it's a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable. I mean, I have to go work out. I had a heart attack in 2011, and it's a non-negotiable. And so I have to do that. Nutrition is very important to me. And I justified eating the jelly beans because they were beans, they were vegetable. And so I, not really. It's not funny. It was just what I did. But, so I have those things in place, and growth is huge. Like I said, I've been in this growth journey for 7 years. I'm still drinking out of the fire hose. I mean, every day is like that. I just got off a call with one of my coaches. And so, I mean, every day is like I'm being stretched and pulled, and it's not always fun, especially when they say, I'm going to give you some honest feedback. And you're just like, oh, here we go, but that's where the growth is. So
yeah,
you gotta shut me up, because I get excited, and I'll get going.
I'm going to do our quick mid-episode sponsor. So our sponsor today is the Phoenix Identity, which is my coaching practice. Go take a look. It is phoenixidentity.com. We will have the 7 mindset pillars there for you to take a look at and download and get to know what those mean and how they impact your mindset and your everyday reality. Because 80% of your reality, actually probably about 90% of your reality, is created by your mindset. So go and take a look at that later today. So I have to post it so that you can get it. The other thing is, anybody watching, please check out the links in the description. Go check us out on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Twitch, on TikTok. We are on just about every social media platform you can think of, and we are looking for more followers, more co-hosts, more sponsors, and more viewers, of course, because that's what a talk show is for. So I want to talk about the thought process behind getting out of your own way. So if you are stuck in your own way, you're going to experience unhappiness. You're going to experience, feeling stuck. You might be going in the right direction, and you might be experiencing success. And I say success in everybody else's terminology, right? You've got everything to show for it, but in the background, you're not happy. In the background, you're not, living for you. In the background, you're, on the verge of bankruptcy, like you said, with that 7-car business. You're in your own way. You're in your own head. Now, what I want to say about that is, when you get into your own head, if you start having thoughts, if you start having emotions come up and they're negative, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, or you fear taking a step, I want you to feel into that. I absolutely encourage everybody to feel into those, because those are the moments that are going to tell you, okay, is this a belief of mine? Is this matter to me? Do I want to continue forward? Is this the way I want to go? Those are the times that you question. Those are the times that are really going to show you, am I meant to move forward? Is this truly what I want? If not, do I need to step back and change?
That's so good. And I think it is that slowing down in this day and age. It's so hard for us to just be quiet and to just darken the screens of our life and to sit in it. And that's one thing too. I wake up early in the morning. So just having that quiet time is just the clarity that comes out of that. When I am the only person up and it's totally quiet, it is like, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Those are golden moments for me. Some people have that at night, late at night. I'm just a morning person. So that works for me, but whatever works for you. Maybe you do that while you're working out or on a treadmill, or maybe you do it, when you're shopping. I don't know what, but I would really encourage you to sit with that, to sit with those thoughts and those feelings and those emotions, because, you can't just run past them. You can't outrun them. You gotta deal with them, and you gotta speak to them, but you gotta know where they come from. And I think when I truly began to value who I was, and I began to believe what I'd always heard growing up, and just, growing up and, as a person of faith, just hearing certain things but not believing it for me. I could believe it for you all day long. I could be your best cheerleader, But when it came down to believing for me, and I realized that my values, I did not value who I was. And you will never outperform your own self-image. And when I began to do that work, and when I really began to get in touch with my values and even know what they were, because y'all, honestly, 7 years ago, I couldn't even name my values. And people are like, what are your values? I'm like, huh? It's kind of like a growth plan. It's like, what growth plan? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just tried to fake my way through that, that conversation, but I don't recommend that. But yeah, so just, I think it comes down to values. And I think, I see that a lot, because you can't give what you don't have. You can only fake it for so long.
Yep.
And, I see it with, a lot of different types of people I work with, but you just can't fake that. And so you have got to love who you are. And that's why I say it starts in the mirror. It really does. It starts with how you see yourself. When you look in that mirror, that person looking back at you, that really matters. And so often, I'll catch myself and people all the time. Sometimes they're like, Lynn, really? But how you talk to yourself matters. Even if you drop something, you're like, oh, that was so stupid. You're so stupid. You're so clumsy. You're so blah, blah, blah. All that stuff matters. It sounds cheesy. It sounds like some pie in the sky rainbow moment. No, but it's for real, because what you say and what you believe, your mind does not know the difference. Yep. What you think and what you say, if you're thinking those thoughts, your subconscious, your brain knows no different. And, yep. And they've done huge, vast amount of research in this whole area. And they've done all these tests with people and even learning music. And I got to see this firsthand not long ago. I was at a funeral and I watched this. She was an accomplished pianist. I'm telling you, this woman is amazing. And I watched her. This guy was going to sing a song and she had never played the key or whatever. I don't know what it was. It was something she'd never really seen or played before. She sat there in that funeral like this. She played the whole song out just in the air, like behind the piano. I watched her and she did it. She did it like 3 times. So she was rehearsing that in just that stillness, but not even touching the keys of the piano. So that's kind of like our brains. We don't even have to be saying things sometimes. It's our thoughts. It's our, sometimes it's even our facial expressions. I'm the worst. Oh my, I can get so caught, and my people can call me out on my facial expressions. But the main thing is value.
Called out on mine today by one of the ladies I work with. She's like, Melissa, your facial expressions. I'm like, dude, I was tired yesterday. Okay. Not feeling well. We are our own worst enemy. No matter who you are, what situations you faced, where you're at in your life, we are our own worst enemies. And a part of that is the triggers we have. So I'm going to use, what situation should I use? Constructive criticism, right? If you give somebody constructive criticism, even if you're doing it out of a place of love or a place of, I'm just trying to help, you can't control how that other person's going to take it. Right? So knowing that in your head, if somebody says something to you, you're reacting based on you. You're reacting based on what you feel is happening or your perception of what's happening. When you say, oh, I'm not getting ahead because of this person, or I'm not getting ahead because of this situation. You're not getting ahead because of you, because you are allowing yourself to be stuck by that situation. And that's not a shame or a blame or anything along those lines. We get ourselves stuck by those situations. And then it's like, I can't go anywhere because of the snow. Well, I do have a truck and I possibly could go somewhere, but my husband has the truck and I refuse to drive the truck. I'm in my own way, right? If you say, I'm going to be happy when, don't care who you are, what you're doing, what the purpose is. I'm going to be happy when. You are not happy now. You are not going to be happy then. I'm going to be happy when is a cop-out. That is a myth. It's not going to happen. You are already in your own way. If you say, I'm going to be happy when I lose 20 pounds, right? I'm going to start a talk show when I lose 20 pounds. When you lose that 20 pounds, something else is going to get in the way. You will find something else to say, I can't do that. I can't start that. I can't be that. I can't be happy because I might have lost the weight, but now none of my clothes fit. There's always going to be something more when you say, I'm going to be happy when. Always. And that's one of the main reasons we get in our own way, because we put that belief in there. We don't take the steps. We don't see the path. We don't create our success because we're in our own head.
So true. So true. So just be gentle on yourself,
Oh, yes.
just be gentle on yourself. I mean, so today you said you said something negative about yourself or whatever, or you didn't do what you wanted to do. Your to-do list is just, was not, yesterday you didn't do it or whatever. And today is a new day and it's not looking like it's going to happen today or whatever. Just be gentle on yourself and to really focus in on, valuing you and fixing you, because if you don't slow down and take care of yourself first, you can't take care of anybody else and you can't serve the world and be all you were created to be. And I always give this example, I use like a $20 bill and, everybody knows the value of a $20 bill and you know what you can buy wherever you are in the world, what you can buy with $20. It's so true. So we know the value of this. We trust the value of this. I mean, I guess most people do. I don't know. We're not getting into all that. I'm just talking about this right now, just an example. But so what if I crumple this up? I just wad it up, and into a little ball. And I mean, I could throw it on the floor and I could stomp on it and grind it in the dirt. And then I could unfold it again. And I could get an iron and, flatten it out again, I guess, and make it okay. And I would probably be able to use it in a store. Does it still have the same value?
For the most part. To a collector, no. But as money, yes.
Yeah. So I could still go trade this for something right now. Yeah. And so, whether it's something that you are allowing, I mean, if something's happened to us, it's because we're allowing it. And so if it's something that's coming in from the outside that we're allowing, it still does not change our value. If it's something from the inside out that is messing up our mindset, even though those things happen, it still doesn't change our value. And so, I think that's, what I really want to leave everybody with is that, if you could see, even though I don't know you personally, but if you could see what others see in you, and if you really get to that place where you believe and that you are here for a purpose and you find that passion, it's not going to be any motivation from the outside. People used to say, oh, isn't she a motivational speaker? I'm like, no, that would be no. I don't ever want to be a motivational speaker because that's not what brings impact and changes lives. What changes lives is change. And so I just wish that for all of you that you would just take some time and, check out Melissa's site and just ask yourself these questions. What if it did work? What if it did work? And where do you want to see yourself? Even in December of this year, in 2022, December 31st, what are you willing to take responsibility for? Yeah. And where do you want to be? So I definitely recommend diving into, the process of coaching, because you have all the answers. They're already inside of you. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I just love being with you today.
I 100% agree. I love that message, and it does all start. I would follow that up. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the woman that looks into the mirror and says, I'm not good enough? Do you want to be the guy that says, I can't do that? We have the ability to create so much change in how we express ourselves. We're not changing who we are. I always say when people are like, oh, you're identity coach, I don't want to change my whole life. I said, you don't have to change your life. It's not changing who you are. It's changing your expression of who you are. Your expression of who you are is getting rid of everybody else's expectations, getting rid of all those beliefs that you've put stuck in your head that are keeping you stuck in your own way. Because our purpose is to get out of our own way. It's to create our dreams. It's to strive for them and thrive for them and create what we want to see. I created this talk show not because I wanted to be rich and famous. Is that a side benefit? Absolutely. Not going to deny that. But I wanted to build a community for people to feel accepted, to feel loved, to create change in their life that makes them happier and healthier and judgment-free, safe space, all of that. So I'm going to end that there and say I do have 2 Facebook groups, one for the show, and that one is, for all the viewers and co-hosts of the show. You can go in there. Oh, got the hiccups. You can go in there and talk to people about what you saw on the show, get, some more insight from us. As well, I also have a show called, a Facebook group called Women Supporting Women. And this Facebook group is 100% promotional free. I do post the show episodes in there only because I want to make sure that you're getting this everyday topic, self-help, personal development conversation that we're having. I want to make sure that you're getting that and creating that change if it's a topic that you want to hear. So I want to say thank you so much, Lynne, for joining me today. This has been a wonderful episode, and I hope that we have left our viewers with an idea of how to get out of their own way and maybe a little bit of inspiration.
I hope so too.
All right. Well, just a family, that is our episode today. If you would like to be a co-host, a sponsor, or if you would like to see a topic featured on the show, please reach out to me at justalivetv.com. You can now watch the show on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and live off of our own website. So please go and join the newsletter. We are going to be releasing another blog actually later today. And yeah, come and join the show. This is, again, all about inclusivity, self-love, and acceptance, and feeling like you're a part of a community. That's what this show is all about. Thank you again, Lynne, for joining me. I am Melissa Krechler. I am your host, and I will see you on the next episode. Don't forget, like, follow, and share. Bye.